you've learnt your major and minor bar chords, the next natural progression is getting into 7th chords, and in today's lesson we're going to see how we can use the CAGED system to memorize major 7th chords up the entire neck. Starting with a brief introduction of what the major 7th chord is, and then take you through the CAGED system and show you the 5 grips for each shape. We'll then conclude with an exercise using a 1-4 progression, which is perfect for your major 7 grips. There will be a handout and the backing track that I use in the lesson available to all members of my Patreon group. You can find out more about that with the link down below. Let's get stuck in. For today's lesson, we're going to be in the key of D major. So let's firstly think about what a D major 7 chord is. It's going to be a root note of D, a major 3rd, F sharp, plus a perfect 5th, A, that's the 3 notes of a D major triad. To that, we're going to add in a major 7th, the C sharp. D, F sharp, A, and C sharp are the notes of a D major 7. Now, the important thing for us today is remembering that the major 7 is always going to be a half step below the root note. If we think about major scale theory, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there's that half step between the 7th and the octave root. Okay, so always 1 fret below. The open position D major chord is obviously this one. A D major 7 then is this. Now this is important, so what changed between those two chords? The note on string number 2 was lowered by a half step. This note on string number 2 is the note D. It is the octave of the root note on the open string 4. So 1 fret or a half step below the octave root will be the major 7th. We add that into the chord, and then we have the major 7th grip. So that's going to be our approach to memorize each of the shapes through the CAGED approach. So we started with D major 7. That is in a sense the D shape in the open position. So the way CAGED works is that the next shape up is the next note in the word CAGED. So if we've started with D, we loop back round to C. So after the D shape in this open position, we would be in the C shape. C shape to my mind is characterized by this octave shape, a 5-2 octave, which can be found within the open C chord. Around this octave shape then we can form a C-shaped bar chord. Remember, the trick with CAGED is as if we're using a capo. So when we're here, it's as if we've got a capo in the 2nd fret and we're playing a C chord. But of course it's not a C chord because it's rooted upon the note D. So this is a D chord. But where was the root note? It was on string 2, flatten it, 1 fret down to reveal the major 7th, and that is the grip for a D major 7 in the C shape. A follows C in CAGED, so our next form will be the A shape. It's going to be rooted upon this 5th fret, staying on the D note, but this time the chord shape is working more towards the body. That's our D major chord in the A shape. We can do it a couple of ways. Now the octave for that is the 5-3 octave. So there is the root note. If we take that note down the half step, that will be the major 7th. Add the rest back in, and we have D major 7 in the A shape. So linking those up, C shape, A shape. Next would be G, C-A-G. We start from the octave of the last position, and then we have a 3-1 octave. This note D is also found on string 6 at the 10th fret. So there are 3 root notes within the G shape. It makes a rather awkward bar chord shape. Again, it's if we were capoed at the 7th fret for this. That's the so that's the bar chord. Realistically, we only use the top. So that's the major chord. Now, where was the octave root? It was on string number 1. Root note, down the half step, that's the major 7. Add it back in. D major 7 in the G shape. There it is. Referencing either this note or this note, or that note on string 3, That's the grip. D major 7 in the G shape. C, A, G, E follows. The E-shaped bar chord looks like this. Rooted on the 10th fret, that's a D major in the E shape. The first octave we can look at is between strings 4 and 1. There's an octave. That's the major 7th. Add the other notes back in, and we get that nice diagonal major 7th chord. So this is in the E shape. The other one is from the other octave, which is 6 to 4. There's the root note. There's the major 7th. Adding back in the 3rd and the 5th. D major 7 in the E shape. That's 1. And there's 2. C, A, G, E, D. We are on the D shape. We're now at the octave of the open string. And that's our shape. We saw that just before. But we've gone 1 octave higher. Just to review the octave idea. So there is the octave of 4-2. There's the major 7th. D major 7 in the D shape. D. C. A. G. E. D. That's how the shapes then link up, and you want to be able to do that from any root note. Now we've got an exercise for this lesson working in the key of D, going between a D major 7 and a G major 7. So let's take G this time as our root note. In the open position we have the G major chord, but here would be one way to play a G major 7. In the open position we can add back in the root note on string 6, G major 7. So with CAGED, after G will come E. The E shape then would be 1, 2. G, E, D will follow. There's the octave. That's the major 7th. D shape comes C shape next. That's the major. So that's the major 7 grip. A form is next. Would be there. And then we are at G once more. The octave of the open position. An excellent progression to start using these shapes would be a 1-4 in a major key, because those are the notes upon which we can form major 7th chords. 2, 3, 4. D major 7 going to the G major 7. It's a 1-4 progression in the key of D major. So we're going to start up in the C shape. D major 7. 2. G major 7 in the E shape. The 2 forms. D major 7. Again in the C shape. Going to the E shape. For the G major 7. Let's move on up. A shape. A shape goes to D shape for the G major 7. You can start picking out the notes or strumming, whatever works. Just a visualization exercise. Up to the G shape for the D major 7 and C shape for the G. Again. E shape, the 2 forms, 2, the A shape for the G, again E shape, to the A, then we're ending in the D shape, D major 7 in the D shape, to the G major 7, which is the same as down here. And that links back up to the C shape once more. So there you go, major 7th chords. If you did enjoy that lesson, please give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel. As you do so, don't forget to ring that bell. If you want to find out more about the CAGED system, if this is something new to you, I have my ebook in my online shop, CAGED Clarity. That's going to take you from the absolute basics of CAGED, get you right through to really nailing this stuff. You can find more about that with a link down below. As I mentioned before, there is a handout and the backing track available to all members of my Patreon group, where you can help support my work for as little as $3 per month. If you have any questions on the lesson, please do let me know in the comments and I'll be sure to get back to you. Practice well, and I will see you again soon.